So hang on, you started at Dunlops in what, 67?
No, shit, no.
57?
Yeah, I was 18.
What did you do before you were 18? Because you left school at what, 13?
No, 14, 15.
14, 15.
14 to 15. But Dunlops wouldn't take you on as an apprentice.
You're 18.
Until you were 16. Because the reason was that you had to do 5 years of apprenticeship, and they'd have you for 5 years. You were cheap labour anyway.
Yeah, same model.
Yeah, but Dunlops were good to their apprentices, especially to me. I mean, they looked after me. You know, I got, every time George Rainey was the boss, George Rainey was about to retire. George Rainey was the electrician for all Dunlops in Australia, and he didn't give a shit for anybody. And the chief engineer for the company was a guy called Harry Whelan, who played football for North Melbourne. And Harry Whelan and George Rainey got on like houses on fire. That's terrific, you know. No, great to work for. Everyone did. Barry Roberts played for Fitzroy. Peter Stevens played for South Melbourne. You know, these were all guys that were older than me. But I spent a year in the Dunlop drawing office because I was too young to become an apprentice. I was only 15 when I joined up in January. 57. Had to be.
So when you left school,
Yeah.
how'd you make your mind up about that one? Did you leave, or were you encouraged to leave, or you just went, I'm out of here, I need to go earn money?
I had a certificate, the best certificate you can get from that school. I had a thing called an intermediate certificate.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to go any further, the office had to pay your fees, which were a lot of money for, you know, in those days. And my mother could never pay for anything. But if you ever wanted to go to university, that you had to have that certificate and a leaving certificate to go with it. And there was a thing called matriculation, but if you had a leaving and the intermediate, they all assessed you were smart enough. So, you know.
So what age were people meant to get that stuff to leave? 16?
16, yeah. You'd be 16 in the January. That was the real trick.
The following January?
Yeah, that was the real trick to it.
Oh, so you left at 15?
And I got a job at 15, and I started in January at 15. So come July, I turned 16, I went out and started my apprenticeship. But I had 10 offers to stay in the drawing office. They're all the guys that worked in the drawing office. They used to have an office boy.
Yeah.
He was a bum's boy. Chaser, call him what he liked, did all this, carried all stuff up to the printing room.
Yeah.
And one day, one of these guys, none of these people.
TV shop. But back at Dunlops?
Yeah, back at Dunlop. So when I became 16, they'd become aware that I was leaving to go down to the factory to work. I said, no, you stay here. We'll put you through, pay you a wage, good wage, put you through university or technical college, and you get a degree. That's a better deal. But when you're 16 years of age, you don't know what to do. You don't know what you're being offered. You really don't. And I thought, oh, I'd go and talk to Mick's dad, Uncle Mick. I called him up and talked to him about it. He said, well, it's a good offer. He said, well, you reckon you'll get through? I said, yeah, probably would. He said, well, then I thought, well, what happens if I get part way through and don't get the rest? I'm on my arse then.
So you thought you can go what? Go to the floor and then go on the tools and...
Yeah, I'd go on the tools. Well, I did that. And then when I was 21, you had to be five. You had to pass the exams when you're 18, and you had to pass two other courses that they picked for you. And then you get your A-grade licence straight away. I thought, oh, all right. I did all that. And then when I was 18, they changed the law about getting your fucking A-grade licence. They said, come back when you're 21, we'll give it to you. No more schooling, no more nothing. Just turn up. So I did, that's what I decided. So I stayed at Dunlops until I was 21. Then I decided to leave. One of the guys that worked in Dunlops for Fleet Forward, before he left, he was George, his name was George Simpson, he was an Englishman. And he was pretty good to work with. And he approached me and said, look, when are you going to leave Dunlops? I don't know, quite happy. He said, well, if I told you you want a half time the money you get now. But what? And yeah. No, because Mum couldn't afford it. I had to pay 50% of my salary to my mother. No matter how much I earned, she got 50%. That was the deal. So, I mean, you're 16, your mother told you what to do, you do it.
Were you the only one earning, or was you?
No, my twin brother was working for the railways. Though he wasn't very well paid. Connie was still at home, Marion was still at home. And they both worked. They all they contributed.
What's the gap to?
What do you mean, what's
Who's
that?
the oldest?
Eh?
Vivian was.
Vivian was the oldest. Vivian was in a fashion, not a proper citizen, if you like, whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, she used to get upset. Anyhow, and the girl got married, and I stayed at home till I was 19, 20, maybe a bit older than that, 21. And you know, I'll tell you something about Dunlops, and one thing I did screw up. Dunlops, when I was doing my apprenticeship, Dunlops offered to send me to university as a cadet engineer. And I should have gone. And I should have gone because they offered me enough money, but I'd get through 4 years. But to get engrossed into this thing, Dunlops had to, the guy who was head of the faculty at Melbourne University was Brian Poppet Rose. That was his name. And he was a professor. And he used to make all models and all sorts of things. And one of the Pop Rees, I still work for Dunlops, Pop Rees said to me, "I've got a message I want you to run. Once you go out to Melbourne University and give this equipment to the professor." Everyone knew it. I said, all right. And I said, well, he said, go and get a ute and a driver and I'll take you up. So they did. And I walked in the big electrical room, and all the students were studying and he was giving lectures and whatever. He stood up and he said, right, lads, that's it, out you go. That's your lecture for today. And he climbed up the ladder and put his hands in the switchboard, and I thought, you got to be some sort of a fucking nutter. Climb up a ladder like that. I mean, he wasn't a young guy. And he's I said, I didn't know what you're doing. He was asking, I said, my name's George Harrison. He said, you must be a fool to have a name like that. He said, do you know what I'm doing? I said, do you know what you're doing? Don't worry about me. I know what I'm doing. Get me out of the fucking way. He said, what are you here for anyhow? I'm here to give you the Dunlop delivery. Oh shit, that's important. So he climbed down, closed the switchboard up, and ring up the gear. And he later said to me, you should have stayed, son. Strawberry was right. But it came down to money. You know, you had to earn the money. You know, I got married earning, £18 a week, 20, £25 a week, something like that. Not very much. You know.
Don't think university would have made a difference to you, mate. Really,
No, probably not.
really don't, mate. What you did in your life, you don't get out of a university degree, yeah?
Yeah, that's true. Anyhow, so Dunlops, George, the brothers Grimm.
Yeah. They came out. They had a relationship with Dunlops, did they?
No, they had a relationship with Melbourne University. They didn't get their degrees there, they got them in Sydney. That's Carl Loney. He wasn't electrical, he was a welding expert.
And who's that?
That's Frank Loney.
He's the one who smashed Mum's
My car.
Your car. Here, my first memory of life, yeah? Watching him come down the road and watching Mum be not happy.